Good morning, everybody. How's it going, guys? Couple of new members already as we just getting the stream underway. Thanks for joining, Dougal and Cianti. Glad you guys are enjoying the content. Glad to have you here. Fifth Freedom Simulations in the house already doing his before start checklist. Same with Micah04, getting their coffee, getting your checklist ready to go. You know it, guys. We are back in the Flight Factor A320, and I am going back to work. So I haven't flown an airplane, a real airplane, in a little over 8 weeks now. So while I've enjoyed my time off and I love it, I am excited to get back in the cockpit. I would be lying to you if I wasn't. And, even though, we work and we grind and, gosh, I just want time off. But then after some time off, it's kind of like, okay, my true passion lies in this beauty right here. Beautiful Airbus. I'm excited to get back to work, but I do want to take today, and hopefully I will do one more episode or one more live stream as well. I'd like to do at least 2 back-to-work streams just to really get myself in shape before I get back on the line and start flying the lines. So we're in the Flight Factor A320, as I already said. We're going to be going from Salt Lake City to Los Angeles. I just installed a new scenery in LAX, the ShortFinal KLAX, so that'll be fun to check out as well. Good morning, everybody coming in, joining the chat here. Good to have you here. You guys with your epaulets are looking mighty fine. That looks good. I'm going to be adding more to that as well. So if you guys are new to the channel, or you've been to the channel for a little while and you're wondering where everyone's getting their epaulets from, I have enabled memberships on my channel. There is a link in the description, and there's also a short video I posted. If you want more information, just go ahead and check that out. But that's where you will get your epaulets and emojis. If you want to use the emojis in chat, the easiest way to type it is I'll type a sample. You're going to use the colon, and then you're going to do V1S, and then I'm just going to hit enter. So if you type that in chat, that's the shortcut for V1s, and you will see it'll pop up a list of emojis. I got 4 of them right now, but going to add more as we come up with more emojis that we want to use. So glad to have you guys here. Excited for the stream. Let's get to it. So let's hop into the cockpit here and get this aircraft ready. So I have the aircraft sitting on ground power. I got the ADIRs aligning. That is about it. You could see that they are flashing and ready to align. So I'm going to just simulate walking into the cockpit here, and we're going to come right up here. We would make sure we check our life vests, our oxygen, our emergency equipment. Our gear pins are stowed over here. We've got our fire extinguisher down there. A couple other safety items. Make sure all the circuit breakers are in, and any aircraft manuals that would be required to be on board. Hop into the captain's seat here. Let's go ahead and get on the overhead. Let's go right up from the bottom. Tune the cruise supply on. We have a fault light there. That is normal. Ground control push button. We would activate that if it was functional, but it is not right now. ADIRs are already aligned, and we would come right into our engine fire test. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got our lights and the fire bell down there. Good test on engine 1. Let's check engine 2. Fire lights, master cautions, everything is looking good there. Ask the first officer, did you test the APU? He'd probably say, no, I forgot. So let's go ahead and test the APU fire test for him. There's our lights. Everything looks good. Fire test is good. Coming back down the overhead panel, we're going to leave our fuel pumps on. Electric power is on right now. Battery voltage looks good, 28.1 volts. We can simulate a charging situation with the batteries. Not sure if it's completely modeled there.
Hotel, radio check.
CNT, X-Plane on the screen and V1 simulations on the other. Afternoon is set. Excellent, CNT. Good to have you here. All right. Dougal already getting the emojis out there. That's awesome. Let me turn down the that pilot edge volume there. Let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and turn him off real quick so I can stay focused. All right, so we're coming down the overhead. We're on external power. It's warm here in Salt Lake, so let's go ahead and get the APU ready to be fired up. We've got the nav light on. We can keep these lights off. We're waiting for the flap open message here. Jeremy Harvey says, V1 simulations, the music is the kind of stuff I do for a living. I normally charge for this kind of stuff, but you serve us so well, I felt obligating to give my services for free. Jeremy Harvey, I sincerely appreciate your work, man. I'm loving that intro music, dude. It gives me all the feel-goods of flight simulation. It's just, it hit the, it just hit it right on the head, man. It's a wonderful piece of work, and I'm really enjoying my subscriber tones and donation tones and things like that. So all the sounds you guys hear from the stream, they are from Jeremy Harvey. He is linked in the description below if you want to check him out, his other work. But he was an actual. It's really nice. So all right, we've got our APU spooling up here. Let's hop outside. Let's listen to this beautiful baby spin up. The Wolf says, was this an actual airline? Yes, it was. Asking for a friend. America West. Lonely America West. So America West was the OG airline. America West ended up buying U.S. Airways. And then they merged, but it was actually America West buying U.S. Air. And then U.S. Airways, which was really America West, bought American. So while on the outside to the public it looks like American took over, it was actually a little America West that went and bought everybody. So it was a real airline. Still have real pilots out there, but they're all fly under the American brand name right now. So our APU is fired up. Let's get back on the overhead here. Let's disconnect the ground power, so if they pull the power plug on us early, we don't shock the ground controller. Let's get the cabin temps down a little bit. We'll go pack flow low. We don't have any passengers on board right now, and everything looks good right there for now. Vent down, parking brake is set, engines are off, and into the box we will go. V1 Sim, or Fifth Freedom says, V1, thank you, Captain K. These epaulets is as close as I'm going to get, perhaps in another life. Well, I hope you wear them with pride there, Fifth Freedom. I'm glad you're enjoying the content, and I'm going to be adding more. I think there's 4 up to Captain, and then I think I'm going to have, maybe the elusive 5-stripe Captain, and maybe 1 more as well, so for the ultimate hardcore fans of this channel. Alright, let's hop into the box here and do some programming. Actually, just before we do that, let's pull up the ATIS. I already have my frequency set in nav2 here. Let's see if we can get some ATIS information. Nope. 2475. Negative, Ghost Rider. What do we got for ATs? 2475. What about 2562? Let's try this. I'm gonna have to take it on COM 1. 2560. Oh, come on, where are you? Jeez. Interesting. No ATIS there on COM 2. Let's turn that off. Let's go to COM 1. Let's go back over here. And let's try 2475 on COM 1. Maybe it's a flight factor issue. Yep.
Altimeter 3003. Arriving and departing runways 14, 16 left, 16 right, 17. Visual approaches in use. Simultaneous approaches to parallel runways in use. VFR departures, contact clearance delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Lima.
Information Lima for departure.
Salt Lake City International Airport. ATIS information Lima. 1454 Zulu. Wind 130 at 11. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 25,000. Temperature 21. Dew point 3. Altimeter 3003. Arriving and departing runways 14.
All right, that's all we need to know.
Right, 17.
Let's go ahead and get rid of that. McShiggity Pilot, hello all, just doing a test chat. He says that I have to be at work in an hour, just popped in, have to watch the replay. McShiggity, thanks for popping in, man. Glad to have you here. Thanks for becoming a member, and we'll definitely have that replay up for you so you can catch up later. All right, let's call. I'd like to put the box in, but Pilot Edge has a tendency to give me a different route than I filed, although I took a real route for this flight exactly. So hopefully they'll keep it the same, but I'm going to call clearance first, and then we'll program the box. 27.3 is clearance delivery. They are up on COM 1. Let's give them a call as Cactus 414. Morning Salt Lake, clearance is Cactus 414. Looking to pick up IFR to Los Angeles.
Cactus 414, solid clearance for the Los Angeles Airport. Zion's 1 departure, enough transition, then as foul, climb and maintain 10,000. Squawk 5263 and maintain 230 knots.
Donation.
Alright, we're cleared to Los Angeles via Zion's 1 departure, EHK transition, then as filed. Climb maintain at 10,000, squawking 5263. And I kind of cut out there on the last part. Did you say maintain 230 knots?
Cactus 414, affirmative, read back, correct.
Thank you, sir. Alright, so 230 knot restriction. That'll be interesting. I'll put that in the box so you guys can see that here. Donation coming in, Thrust Set. Thank you for the donation. He says, keep up the good work, sir. $20 bomb. Thank you so much, Thrust Set. I'm glad to have you here. Glad you're enjoying the content, man, and supporting the channel. You guys are rock. So let's go ahead and get that squawk in there. 5263, 5263. Transponder 1, we are on. Everything looks good for now. And so we can go ahead and load up the box. So what we're going to do, we're going off as Cactus 414. Cost index of 99,360 on the altitude. We can align on ref. Fifth Freedom says, your screen is looking mighty good this morning. Crisp and clear. Fifth Freedom, awesome. Glad to hear it. I think, you know, I've been doing some research, and I think what causes a little bit of fuzzy or latency delay in the stream is when I actually have track IR on and I'm looking around with my track IR. So like right now I'm just clicking and dragging with the right mouse, but if I were to, let's say, like go here and turn track IR on, and then my head has got that free movement, I think the slight continuous movement of the screen adds a little bit of a latency issue. So I'm going to try to keep track IR off as much as possible for you guys on this flight here. Alright, here we go. So we're got our cost index, everything. Let's go. Let's go flight plan. Salt Lake. We're going to plan on departing southbound 16 left. And he said that we are as filed. So that's the Zion's 1's EHK. Let's go ahead and do this right here. Let's making sure we got good habits here, because we're going to be doing this for real in a couple days. So Zion's 1, insert this. Let's see. Zion's 1's. Now, what's interesting is he said EHK transition, but I don't know if there's a transition for EHK, if it's just let's take a look at the chart here. Ooh, there is. Whoops. So essentially, we're going to be departing off southbound to Hopto, then Zion's. Hopto, Zion's, then Enoch. So it's interesting that I can't load a departure all the way. Let's look at that one more time. I should be able to go departure, because this is a current nav database as well. Oh, there we go, transition. So there's a little bit of conflicting information with the Flight Factor box still. Like, you have, in order to get the transitions, I feel like I got to do a few extra steps than you actually have to do in the real airplane. But let's take a look at that. There we go. Hopped on Zion, Gitlin, Lodi, all the way out to EHK, and then we're going to a Laker, which is Lima Alpha Kilo Romeo Romeo, followed by Q88. Let's go ahead and insert that. Q88. And I'm not trying to ignore you guys in chat. I just want to, you know me, I like to get this airplane off the gate. We gotta get this thing off the gate, and then I'll be able to get more engrossed in the chat messages. Hackman, we can go ahead and insert that, and then that's going to lead us into the arrival for Los Angeles. We're doing the Angel 4. I have no idea what they're actually landing, but I think, I mean, the majority of the time they're landing westbound. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, westbound. So let's plan on... we're coming from the north, though. We'll plan on 2-5 left. We're probably going to have to change that. We'll plan 2-5 left, Angel 4 off of... Let's see, so here we go again with the transitions. Laker, Hackman, Angel 4. Arrival, Angel 4, Hackman. So you see how I have to, in order to get the transitions, I have to go back to my main flight plan page, then I have to reload the arrival box and select Hackman. So that's kind of a unnecessary step that can get you busted in the flight factor there. Okay, because there's a couple fixes. It goes Hackman, yeah, Smash Sally, all the way down before Angel. So good thing we verified that. That's in the box. I'm going to keep that discontinuity in there. That's supposed to be there. According to our departure procedure, it is a radar vector, so that is correct. Alright, so we got our flight plan in the box. Secondary, initialize that. We're going to do round robin, SLC, SLC. I'm just using my keyboard for that. Secondary again. Boom, boom. We're going to come right back around and land on the longest runway, which is 16s, so we'll just put 16 left right back in there. Secondary again. Perf. Only care about the approach phase. The altimeter was 3003. Temperature was 21. Winds are 1. I wrote them down. I can't read them. 130 at 11.
Monterey, good morning. Centurion 405 Juliet Hotel. We have information golf parked at the GA ramp.
Alright, so we got our secondary. Nothing to hard tune right now. Init page B. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So since I opened up the browser settings on this EFB over here, my EFB kind of gets buggy, so I got to do it from this EFB. Alright, so we've got our fuel. We can go ahead and remove that. Passenger load. We've got a full load. Let's go ahead and mix it up a little bit. Let's do about that. We'll set that. And for cargo, that looks good. So we can go weight request. Come back to perf data. Zero fuel weight 53.1. That matches right here. And our zero fuel weight CG of 22.4 matches right there. Block fuel 10.3, which is 10.2, close enough. Alright, that looks good. So now all we need to do is load up our perf data, V1, VR. Let's do 133 for V1. And actually, we're going to do flaps 1. We're going to go full toga takeoff today, guys. No flex. That looks good to me. Actually, I want to bump that. 137, 140. Boom. Alright, that looks good. Top altitude, or he said he gave us 10,000 on our clearance, so we're going to leave it at 10,000. Climb. Okay, so if you guys remember, he gave us a speed restriction, 230 knots until assigned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-select 230 knots right here, and what will happen is when the aircraft switches to clean configuration, instead of accelerating to 250 knots below 10,000, it's going to accelerate to this pre-selected speed here of 230 knots. That's in theory anyway. The real aircraft will do it. Hopefully the Flight Factor will do it as well. All right. Tommy Monroe, what's up, V1? Are you excited to be heading back? Tommy Monroe, yes. You know what? I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't. I mean, I'm not excited about being away from my family and all, but it's a short trip. It's only a 3-day trip, and I'm you know, it's time for me to get back into cockpit. I miss it. Not gonna lie. All right, let's come back to service here. Let's go ahead and remove the baggage loaders. Let's get everything closed up here. We don't need that. Everything else looks good. We don't need ground power. We can remove the chocks. And we have our fuel, so let's go ahead and do our flow. Our fuel's on board. Pumps coming on. APU bleed is on. That stays off for now. Let's get our seatbelt signs on and auto. Arm the emergency lights. and plan a pushback, then we'll run a checklist here. We're going to push back in the alley off of Charlie 7.
Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Tech Aviator asked, do you fill out your alternate airport in the init page A in real life? Yes, we do. I don't have an alternate today. I think I should have, though, because I think there's some fog in Los Angeles right now. But we don't have one filed. But yes, in real life, we would put an alternate in there. And we can put one in here just for fun. Let's put, let's see, we're going to LA. So let's put Burbank as an alternate. I don't know if that's a good alternate or even a legal one. That's a pretty short runway. How about Ontario? That's a little bit more. We'll do Ontario as an alternate. Alright, so that looks good. We need to call ground. We're pushing off Charlie 7. Actually, we don't need to call ground because we are not pushing onto an active taxiway. So let's run a checklist and get out of here. Pre-flight checklist. Maintenance log and tail number. They are on board and checked. Gear pins and covers removed. Signs on an auto. ADIRS. We are in nav mode. Fuel. 10 required, 10-1 on board. Altimeters are 3013 set once, twice, and 3 times. EFB checked. Pre-flight checklist complete. Beacon light comes on, and let's get out of here, guys. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Actually, I should, let's just hide all of these guys. Make sure they are all off. Everything looks clear, and let's go.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Simkin says, yeah, the transitions are kind of hidden in the Flight Factor box. I've always have to hit back after inputting the SID. Yeah, so I noticed that too. So that's an inaccurate representation of the box. It can definitely get you in trouble if you don't catch it, because you could see it wanted to just load it wanted to load a disco or just go straight from Hackman to the arrival, and that wasn't correct. There's a transition. I think something like that must have happened. If you guys remember the Tollis flight into Portland when I had an air traffic control violation, I think something like that happened on the box when I missed the transition, and I didn't catch it as I should have been paying attention, but. Yeah, Dougal says, is that an old version or an Air? I'm not sure, Dougal. I would be surprised if it's an old version, because it would be very strange to have to go back to load a transition. Captain Pana, are you a real Airbus pilot? Yes, I am. Charlie Rundu says, yes, there is fog. I live in LA. Awesome. We should probably check the weather, but hey, we're going either way, right? V1, Dougal asked V1, how long could you out of the cockpit without having to do a refresher? You mean how long in real life can you be out of work? I think it's
Connected and bypassed in and
90 days.
Release parking brake.
I believe it's 90 days, or there's a certain landing restriction depending on your country, or it may even be airline specific.
And you may start
But
engines.
once you reach 90 days without 3 takeoffs and landings, you need to go back in the sim. All right, here we go. We are pushing back. That looks beautiful. Yeah, you can tell I still have the bug for aviation. I'm passionate about it because as long as I've been off and as much as I enjoy being off and just hanging out with the family and fishing, I'm excited to get back in that cockpit. Kind of like if you guys are PPL, or maybe if you've done a discovery flight, you know that those little butterflies you get, or that excitement you get when you go to the airport and you get to get in your airplane for the first time. That still sticks with me when I've been off for a little period of time, and then I get to finally get back into it. So I'm excited. I'm excited. The only thing that would be better is if it were maybe a 2-day trip instead of 3 days, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. All right, we look like we're clear. Let's go ahead and crank it. We have a bleed pressure, turning engine 1, baby. Simone Tumba coming in with the METAR. Ooh, 2 miles missed, overcast 600. Juicy, boys. That's going to be nice. That'll be a fun ILS in there. 2 miles of mist. Hopefully it stays that way. I know that marine layer will burn
Operation
off
complete.
when the sun
Set
comes up.
parking brake.
Oh man, you messed up my engine start sounds. Brake set.
Connecting tow. Stand by.
Charlie Rondeau.
Morning, Centurion.
Charlie Rondeau is a French name. I apologize, Charlie. Charlie Rondeau.
Left, ready for takeoff.
So Rondeau, not Rondu? I guess Rondu would be maybe not. Maybe that's like a Louisiana version. So French is Rondeau. All right, I apologize. How's it going, DNP? Good to have you here. Flight Sim for Life 23 says if you would have a choose to switch to Boeing, or would you stay with Airbus? I want to stay with Airbus, man. I'm a believer in the bus right now. I'm happy with it. Honestly, it's a really comfortable cockpit. Let's go ahead and fire up engine number 2. So it would be hard to get into a Boeing, after being in the Airbus for a while, because I just don't think I could get used to a yoke again, or having something down there. There's so much more room in the Airbus.
That white has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time, and have a safe flight.
I mean, you can say what you want about, Airbus versus Boeing or et cetera, but the cockpit, hands down, I think it hands down is way more comfortable than the Boeing from a pilot's perspective. And even the jump seat is more comfortable. So we got the gens tripping over there. Man, that sounds good. All right, let's go ahead and go. Oops, I just cranked the motor. I hope that's okay. Thanks for the subscription there. My name is Jack. Glad you're enjoying the content. Glad to have you here. All right, that's up. Reset. We're going to go flaps to 1 here in a moment. Let me put this on TAR. I want to hear the flaps from back here. Let's go flaps 1. Ooh, yeah. Oh, baby, that is nice, huh? Here's our flap limitation. So if for some reason you had a malfunction in the cockpit where you couldn't see how far the flaps were, you could always come back and check visually. So 0, 10, and that continues down on the flap there. So we've got flaps out. Let's go ahead and arm the spoilers, which they are. We don't need that. We don't need that. Let's go pack flow normal. And we are ready to call for taxi. Amari Joseph says, V1, first time being here. Hello from Trinidad and Tobago. Amari, glad to have you here, man. Hope you enjoyed the content. We're going from Salt Lake to Los Angeles today. What did I say ground was? I think it was 21.9. Yes, it was. 21.9er. 21.9, and then we're going to be taking off of 16s, which departing 16 left is 1905. 1905. And he didn't give us a departure freak, did he? No. So it's going to be on the SID, which the departure frequency is going to be 24.3. I'll write that down here. We'll remember to do that. All right. Oh, I should have done a before start checklist. There's strike 1 on my current check. So windows, doors, and slides, they were closed and armed. Beacon is on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is on for now. Transponder is auto. Before start checklist complete. Let's get out of here. Salt Lake ground, Cactus 414. We just pushed off Charlie 7, ready to taxi with Lima.
Cactus 414, Salt Lake ground, only 16 left, taxi via hotel.
16 left via hotel, Cactus 414. All right, 16 left via hotel. Basically, we're going to just make a slight right turn out of here at Join Hotel and take it all the way down. So let's go taxi light on, brakes off. Let's get a cinematic taxi off. Oh. don't know how you guys don't like that. Okay, I'm not gonna look at that truck there because it gives me anxiety. I'm gonna pretend that we didn't hit him. Donation coming in. Fifth Freedom in the house with a $25 bomb. Says for some cockpit coffees and sausage rolls. Now that you are back to work. Thank you, Fifth Freedom. I appreciate that, man. You are a diehard supporter of the channel. Glad to have you here. And I am excited to get this underway. I'm definitely going to be gonna need some coffee and rolls when I get back to work. Back to the old line pilot diet.
572 Spokane clearance clear to the Portland Airport. Spokane 6 departure. Red vector Seeker Road and as filed.
All right, we are getting out of here. Let's do a flight control check.
The departure
Full up,
frequency
full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudders, full left, full right, neutral. Oops, I retracted the flaps on accident. I need to extend them to 1+F.
Delta 572.
Delta 572, read correct.
Alright, here we go. We are on the roll here. Once we get on straightened out, we're going to do a mini brief. Make sure we have everything set up here. Alright, mini brief. It's going to be off of 16 left on the Zion's 1 departure. That should be depicted here on the flight plan page, but it's not. But we'll just pretend it is. Zion's 1, 16 left departure. Gross weight is 63.2. Flaps configuration, a 1+F. Speeds, I got 133, 140. Initial altitude is 10,000. No flex, we're doing a yoga takeoff. And for our perf, we have a standard transition altitude. We're going to maintain 230 knots upon flaps retraction. We'll wait radar vectors up to 10,000 feet to rejoin the Zion's 1 departure. You have any questions? No questions. Okay, let's go auto brakes, max, takeoff config. This comes to System 1. PWS is on and auto. That is already on. We'll make a PA. Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff. And
Yes,
of course, Flight Factor makes me be a flight attendant here, and I have to do cabin ready over there for some reason. All right, rip center line. Let's get back on it. Okay, thank you for the subscription there, guys. I missed one. Let's see, who was that? It was Jatin Ud. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher this one. Jatin Udwadia. I'm sorry if I really butchered that, but thank you for the subscription, man. Glad to have you on the channel here. Captain Tom in the house. Cool. I made it before takeoff. Good morning, V1 and everyone else. Captain Tom, good to have you here, buddy. You are just in time. We've got our flows complete. Let's run a takeoff checklist actually before I have another sip of coffee. Before takeoff checklist. Gross weight comparison is complete. Pitch trim is 0.5% CG set, a V1, a VR, a V2 flex, 133, 137, 140, no flex, toga. Flight instruments, oops, flaps. They are config 1+F. Flight instruments, checked. Flight controls, checked. ECAM memo, takeoff, all green. ECAM status is checked, normal. PWS is on. TCAS code set, TA, RA, cabin crew advised. Mini brief is complete. Let's do a below the line checklist because we can see we're going to 16 left. I see it out there and I see it in the box. Runway 16 left. Fuel 9.5 required for takeoff, 10 on board. Engine mode selector is normal. Bleeds and packs are set. Before takeoff checklist complete. We can go ahead and switch over to tower now. We're at, what is it? What did I say? 1905? That didn't sound right. Yeah, it is. 1905 for 16 left. This is where I miss. This is where it'd be nice to have 2 crew because, you know, I don't have to do that. 1905, and then the departure freak is going to be 124.3. We'll get that in the standby. Ready to roll. Perfect. Okay. We were off the taxiway there, but that's okay. I'm not being graded on taxi. Oh man, I don't know if I'm ready for this. You guys ready for that? Oh, de-ice trucks. The season is approaching.
Good morning,
for
Monterey
de-ice.
clearance, Delta 1862, IFR to Santa Maria.
Simone Tomba says we're all waiting for your cinematic video of Cactus 1549. Maybe it maybe.
Departure, Shui intersection, then asphalt.
Gaming Ninja Sheep, hello guys. How's it going, Gaming Ninja? Good to have you here.
07. Okay,
All right.
1862 is cleared to Santa Monica.
Here is Hotel 16 left. We'll come to a stop here.
Army intersection that has filed. Climb maintain 7,000.
Look at this view with the mountains in the background. Oh my goodness. Juicy.
Delta 1860, just verify you're going to Santa Maria or Santa Monica? Santa Maria for 1862.
Lights off,
1862,
and a brake set.
Santa Monica. Readback is correct, and you can go ground for taxi. Okay, thanks, 1862.
Alright, you ready to get out of here, guys? Charlie Rondo, shake and bake. Let's do it. And Salt Lake Tower, Cactus 414, ready for departure. Ultra 16 left.
Cactus 414, Salt Lake Tower, wind 130 11, runway 16 left, clear for takeoff.
16 left, clear for takeoff, Cactus 414. Alright, guys, it's that time. Brakes off, light them up. Oh, yes. Oh boy, where am I going? Off the runway here. Well, we're clear to go, guys. Don't judge my taxiing performance. I'm not using track IRs to keep the screen a little bit sharper. Alright. Let's give it a full send. Nose forward on the 6. Spool them up, 50%. Runway heading checks. Yoga. Mantoga SRS runway. Auto thrust is blue. $80 knots. Thrust set. Check it. Neutral at 100. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gears up. We're navving.
Good morning, Salt Lake delivery, Delta 2378 IFR San Diego this morning. Ready to pick up clearance.
You can see the speed select 230 is right there.
Salt Lake clearance for the San Diego Airport. Zion's 1 departure, ANOC transition, then asphalt.
Look at the yogas in chat. I love it.
230 knots.
There's our wonderful inner marker, courtesy of X-Plane. There's our acceleration altitude. Let's get a positive trend in airspeed before we retract the thrust levers to a climb position. There it comes. Coming back. Thrust climb, auto thrust.
1, 2, 3.
There is S speed, a flap 0. After takeoff, check.
All after that, I got the block at 7256.
Delta 2378, maintain 10,000, 230 knots.
Oh, that's beautiful right there. That is beautiful.
230 knots in the climb to 05 Delta. Items in the air.
Delta 2378, redirect correct. Cactus 414,
Here
connect
we-
departure.
Over departure, Cactus 414. 24-3 is up. Departure, good afternoon. Cactus 414, 7.5, climbing 10,000, 230 on the speed.
Cactus 414, select departure to contact, climb and maintain flight level 230, proceed direct Hop 2.
Climb maintain, flight level 230, proceed direct to Hopto, Cactus 414. Here we go. Whoops. Direct. Hopto. Insertion. Let's autopilot nav it because I want to look outside. We're still 230 on the speed. We're approaching 9 for 10. Let's do a flyby though. Oops. Too early for you. Go back in there. Flyby. We're cooking with gas now.
Delta 1862, runway ground, runway 2.5 seconds VFO.
Beautiful. Alright, here we go. We are above 10,000 feet. Let's kill the lights. Boom, and yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we're still at 230 knots. We are screaming. in the climb, but that's all right. That's what he wants. We are, let's see, Hopto at or above 9,000 feet. Well, we're definitely going to make that restriction. Loadies at or above 14, so we are looking good, guys. We are looking good. So you can see there, because I put in that speed restriction, it automatically selected 230 and went to selected speed for me. So that's really good to use. Just, you want to make sure you don't do it anything above 250, because if they said, you know, if you put 280 in there, below 10,000 feet, the aircraft is going to exceed the 250 knot restriction below 10,000 feet. Normal speed, Cactus 414. All right, we can manage the speed. There we go, 325 now on the climb. The aircraft is going to pitch down. We're going to get out of here. Thank you for the subscription there, Wakni. Good to have you here. V1 Sim, the chronometer feels left out. I know. You know what? So here's the truth. Whenever I'm flying with somebody, I tell them that I want the chronometer to work like this. Whoever is the pilot monitoring, gear up, start the chronometer, and then retract the spoilers. So because I was flying, I'm just not accustomed to doing it myself. It should have been positive rate, gear up, FO, then clicks the chronometer right there, boom, boom, and then retracts or disarms the speed brake, I should say. So that's kind of how that works. It's weird for me when I'm flying to start the chronometer as well. But yeah, it is important, especially if you are doing a toga takeoff. What I actually forgot to do there, what I should have done, is because that was a toga takeoff, I have a limitation on how long I can keep the aircraft in toga thrust. So in addition to the first officer starting this chronometer here at gear up, when I apply toga, I should have started this chronometer. That way, if we had an engine failure or of some sorts like that, I would know how long I've had the operating engine in the toga setting, and I don't exceed that limitation and cook another good engine. Because if you cook both engines, then you're going to end up into Hudson or whatever lake this is over here. So mistake number 2 on my part, but hey, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this. Just Aviation says, why does it say man toga? Isn't that for manual? So that was a manual toga thrust up takeoff. So once I went into toga, it says man toga. It did it correct. There was nothing incorrect about that. It should go man toga. Staub Killer, do you have the BSS sound pack? Yes, I do. Man, you guys are killing me with the chronometer. Jeez. Darren Allen, new member. Thank you for becoming a member, Darren. I am excited to have memberships on the channel now, and I am excited to have you guys joining everybody here.
Cactus 414, contact Salt Lake City 135.77.
13577, Cactus 414. We'll see it. 13577. God, it feels good to be back in this cockpit. Good morning, Center, Cactus 414, 16.6, climbing flight level 230. Direct, actually, disregard.
Cactus 414, Select Center, climb maintain flight level 360.
Come maintain flight level 360, Cactus 414. All right, up to 36. Here we go, boys. Man, look at the haze out there. So I am excited to have memberships out there, guys. If you're unfamiliar with what memberships are, you see guys joining or chatting with the little epaulets next to their name and the green text. There's a short video out on my channel about memberships. It's the little join button next to the video, next to the like button there, subscribe button. There's also a link in the description if you'd like more information about it. But I just wanted to, I'm excited to get that going because as this channel grows in popularity, I want to still cater to my die-hard Airbus fans that really want to see certain things and want to keep learning. So I want to keep this educational based, and this is a good way for me to do that and keep everybody involved, and it adds some fun to the chat. I mean, who doesn't like using emojis? So it's good, and the epaulets there. The longer you've been a member, the more stripes you will gain. So it's kind of cool. Technical Aviator asks, do you do the rejected takeoff, engine failure at V1, and takeoff briefing before you leave the gate V1 sim? Yes, Technical, I do. So that would be a crew briefing, gather the crew. It actually would start out, as a whole flight crew briefing, and you get there with the flight attendants and then the first officer, and we would talk about, the flight, what's going on, introduce each other, especially if it's the first flight of the day. Normally you don't stick around with your flight attendants, so you're always kind of getting new people. So you do a main crew brief, and then after that, in the cockpit, the two pilots will communicate any abnormalities on takeoff, roll, engine failure procedures, what are we going to abort for, things like that, any special considerations. So that's something that we would do in person. Now, for security purposes and stuff, I'm not going to go through a full takeoff briefing with you guys. But you get the gist of it. Sam Cannon says, sounds like we need a chrono emoji. All right, so what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm not gonna make a bunch of random emojis. I'm gonna make the ones that you guys suggest. So the more members we get, the more emojis we can have. And I have a list here next to me. It's called emojis, and I'm writing down all the recommendations from you guys. Chrono emoji is a perfect example. I'm gonna make a chrono emoji because you guys are just brutal about the chronometer. I could return to field in a 737-200 single engine on fire, single pilot, but you guys still give me crap for not starting the damn clock. Unreal. Captain Tom says, think I'm going to anger some Airbus people and fly the 737NG today. Ah, man. No need to get angry. After talking a little bit with Flight Deck to Sim on his stream yesterday, he had a long stream yesterday. I think I'm gonna get the Zebo installed, and we'll do a flight with it. But I'm not gonna do a flight with it until I get the honeycomb yokes. So hazy out here this morning, but you will see it. Carta Joel, I missed your membership join there. Thank you for joining, man. Glad to have you here, Carta. You've been around for quite a while. You've been a supporter of the channel for quite some time. Glad to have you here as a member. Appreciate it. That one dude B says, okay, you convinced me to buy the 320. Awesome, man. VBulls45 says, would you consider the Tolis A319 a good purchase? Yeah, absolutely I would. We are well above 18,000 feet. I'll get back to that in 1 second. Let's set standard 1, 2, and 3 times. Standard is a set. Let's take a look at our fuel. We got plenty of fuel landing there, 6.6. And I'm not picking up anything on the radar right now, so that looks good. Probably should have had terrain mode on. That's another strike. I should have had terrain mode on for that departure. This is a mountainous terrain airport. But okay, everything else looks good. And we'd go topless. So at this point, we take our headsets off, turn on the loudspeaker, and now we go ahead and pull out the tray table and do pilot things. Entering some clouds right here, -2. Let's go ahead and get the anti-ice on. A little quick layer there, nothing to worry about. That was a waste of time, but hey, one of the few things that are free in aviation, and that is pitot heat and engine anti-ice. Even though technically it's not really free because you sacrifice quite a bit of bleed power or a little bit of engine performance, but Jeremy Harvey says, V1 Sim, have you ever told the flight attendants you need to use the lav and then they forgot about you and you just can hear them laughing and talking through your headset while you get more anxious? No, not forget about me, Jeremy Harvey, but I have had them take a very long time when I really had to go to the bathroom. And I thought for a second that I was going to have an accident. I mean, I don't know what was going on. So technically, I can't get into too much of the security protocol about the door operation and how we manipulate that, but there is a protocol that has to be followed, and I got the short end of the stick. I really had to go to the bathroom. I had myself a nice burrito at Burrito Beach in Chicago O'Hare, and it came back to bite me, literally. So that was, they didn't forget about me, but I was like, when are you guys going to open this dang door? Fifth Freedom, V1 Sim, Tolis or Flight Factor? Oh my goodness. Oh, but anyway, would you somebody asked, would the Tolis be a good purchase? Yes, absolutely be a good purchase. I know you guys have probably already seen the news about the BSS sound pack now, that it is delayed. Looks like Comrade has got some other issues, some personal issues with his housing situation, which is totally understandable. When it's ready, it'll be ready. I'll be excited when it comes out, but there is a little bit of delay now for the BSS pack. With that being said, the Tolis aircraft is still a phenomenal 319 to fly around. There are some things that need work on, such as, you know, the MCDU, which they are working on. They are going to come out with a new revision 1.4, which will include, to my understanding, the secondary flight plan function, which is something we can do now. Let's just go ahead and copy the active. They're going to work on a secondary flight plan function, and they're also going to clean up some other stuff in their box. So when that drops, I think it's really going to be good, because honestly, other than sounds, I'm going to take sounds off the table because we all know that the BSS pack on the 320 is the next thing to real life. The only other part that the Flight Factor really has on TOLUS, I think, that stands out to me is their box. And if TOLUS can come out with a good McDo on their new update, I think you're going to see two really awesome airplanes in the sim. And then eventually when the BSS pack drops for TOLUS, it's going to be even better. So let's look at that view. Goodness, that looks good, huh? Love myself some Fork Boy Ortho. It's going to be a smooth ride. We'll go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off. Captain Tom's, well, why don't we have a 73200 with smoke trail as an emoji? Yeah, maybe. That might be a good one, too. Fifth freedom asks, V1 Sim, what's the weight rating on that trade table again? Well, if you guys don't recall, there is a weight limitation on the trade table, and that is one good-looking flight attendant. That's about as heavy as it can hold, so she's got to be a good-looking flight attendant. That's your limitation on the trade table. Uh-oh. Now I just stuck the FO with his trade table out. There we go. Honestly, the sounds that he recorded for that trade table, or I don't know if it's BSS sounds or if that's the default Flight Factor sounds, that sounds so good, that trade table coming out. It sounds real. Ooh, a sound appreciation emoji? Okay, I like that. Sound appreciation emoji. All right, I'm writing it down. I'm keeping it down. OT says, hey, V1. When is that Europe tour coming? I'd love to see you cross the pond at 323.19. It's going to be coming soon, OT. So I've got you've obviously seen the V1 Sim bird. We've got the livery. We are very close to having VATSIM completely set up, and I've been doing some testing with it because I don't want to just jump into VATSIM on my very first flight ever and look like a complete idiot. So I'm kind of working it off stream, off camera for you guys. And then, so the last thing now is I'm just saving to get a little extra room on my computer because I want to have some nice ortho over there. I already have Great Britain South on Orbix, but I do want to get some good payware airports and some ortho photos over there before we fully fly over. But it's coming quick. I would probably by the time we reach about 4,000 subs, I think we're going to be in need of a true long haul flight across the pond, which apparently you guys want to see. I don't understand why. I mean, man, that sounds brutal sitting here for that long. You know, I'll probably have to take a break mid-flight or mid-cruise, but talk about no pressure on the landing. Trifix asks, hey, what yoke do you use? I use, right now for the Airbus, I'm using a Thrustmaster, a Warthog stick. So if you've watched one of my videos about flight controls in X-Plane, the Warthog stick feels like a tactile feels. It feels very close to the actual Airbus stick. Now, unfortunately, you know, depending if you're right-handed or left-handed, or if you want to simulate being in the left seat, it only comes in right-handed grips essentially. But that feel of just the heavy metal and coolness to the touch, it feels pretty good. Now, the Airbus stick is a little bit different. It's not that ball. You have actual separate channels like a pitch and roll. So the VKB, I have a VKB as well. My only gripe with the VKB is I don't like the tactile feel of the stick itself. It feels too plastic to me. So I use my VKB mostly for helicopter flying. But I do use the Warthog stick. It works out good. I do a lot of combat flying as well in DCS, so having the right stick and the left throttle doesn't really bother me that much. I'm used to flip-flopping back and forth. It's become second nature now. But I do have a honeycomb yoke on pre-order, so that should be coming hopefully soon. It said mid-September, so I'm really hoping anytime now I'll get a notification that it'll be coming, and then I'll have that yoke, and we'll do some more Boeing stuff and some Zibo stuff maybe. So if you haven't noticed already, but the commercial pilot tier on the membership channel, those guys, the big the big point with the commercial pilot tier is you will have exclusive voting rights to steer the content of some of these live streams. So I'm going to come out with, hey, do you want to see, you know, the Zebo versus a 757? And then I'll put a poll out, and all the commercial pilots will be able to vote on that. And then whatever that poll result is, that's what's going to drive this channel. Because I've said it before, and I want to say it again, that I want to keep this channel content that you guys want to see. So I don't just want to get in here and fly around and have you guys watch me fly. I want it to be stuff that you guys want to see. So the commercial pilots are really going to have that ability to steer some of this content as well. So Mr. Dillon says, hey V1 Sim, my Airbus brother, currently in the wait of my next 777 sim session because I finally got a temporary employment contract in this bad boy. Mr. Dillon, that is awesome, man. You're gonna have to take some pictures and post them up in the Discord. I'd love to see that 777 sim up in action, and gotta tell me all about it, man. So that's awesome. That's really exciting, man. 777 is a beautiful bird. She's got some long-range tanks on her, though. Can be some long legs in that puppy. That's awesome, though, Mr. Dillon. Excited for you. Make sure to post updates in the Discord. Jeremy Harvey says, V1 Sim, maybe Tolas should just take over and do their own 320 and 321 so it all feels unified. I agree with you, Jeremy. I would love to see. I don't know if you guys noticed in the thumbnail actually of the stream. Ooh, should we be on this side or this side? Ooh, I don't know. Tough call. Ooh, right there looks good. Let's go ahead and change it right like that. That was a 321 America West in the thumbnail, so I would love to see a 321 for X-Plane. Give me 1 second, guys. I got to turn the fan on in here. It's getting toasty. All right, I'm back with you. Yeah, it's 321 would be really nice. I almost think a 320 would be a waste of resources because we already have the Flight Factor. If they could maybe do a 320 Neo, so that would be cool. Or maybe a 321 Neo, best of both worlds. Who knows? I just would really like to see a 321 because, honestly, the 319 and 320 are very similar in their flying characteristics. It's kind of like, I mean, obviously the 319 is a little bit more sporty and hot rodish than the 320, but the differences are much less noticeable than, for instance, a 319 and a 321. So if you're flying a Tolas around 319 all the time and then you want to do a flight in 321, you should really be able to notice some differences in flight characteristics. So I would like to see a 321 model if I could pick. Slam Kenna says a juicy emoji for sure. That's a good point. I do say juicy quite a bit. Let's go ahead and throw that in. A juicy emoji. I like it. Excellent. Charlie Rondeau says you should do a long haul in the 777 or 350. You know, I don't own any 777 or 350 for X-Plane right now, so that would be hard for me to do. I really wish that we had a good quality 350. That would be nice. I know they're doing updates on it and stuff, but until I actually see someone flying it and saying, oh, this is awesome, then I really don't want it. If they could do a 350, the same quality of this 320, oh man, I'd be all over it. But who knows, man? Who knows? The next long haul or medium long haul airliner I'm going to review is already up for polling for the commercial pilot members. If you check the community tab, I've got it's going to be between, because really the only study level long haulers we have, if you can call them long haulers, are the 7.5 and the 7.6, both from Flight Factor. So I've got the poll up right now. If you're a community member or if you're a commercial member, make sure to vote on the community tab of my YouTube channel so we can get that settled. Jeremy Harvey says, V1 Sim, someone should take a side stick from a retired Airbus and convert it to USB joystick so you can fly with the real thing in the sim. I don't know if that would be legal or not, but that would be interesting for sure. I wonder how much. I know they gotta be super expensive. The next time, you know what's funny? I do a lot of fishing in my pastime, and I actually fished a tournament on Friday, and it's really ironic. One of the guys that was competing in the tournament with me, he is a maintenance technician at DFW. So, and I think he's working on the Embraers and stuff right now, but I don't know if he actually does some mainline maintenance as well on the Airbus. And the next time I see him, I'm gonna ask him, what's it cost for, you know, an Airbus side stick? Because I imagine just the stick itself has got to be insanely priced. Anything in aviation is an extreme amount of money. All right, we are leveling top altitude 360.
Subscriber ahead. Look up.
Thanks for the subscribe there, Vess. Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and put this into all mode here. I should have had it in above mode. I think I misclicked it there, but yeah, it should have been in above mode during the climb out, all mode as we level off. And let's go ahead and do a systems check and our ECAMs here. So top of climb, we'll go ahead and take a look at the engine page here. I'm going to pop it out so you guys can see it. See it a little bit better. There we go. All right, so we've got our fuel, vibes, everything's looking good. Vibes on the left side are a little high, 3.4. Nothing to be of concern because it's still in the green, but a little interesting there that vibe on the N1 blade on the engine 1 is significantly higher. Now, if this was a Neo, it's totally normal. The frickin' Neos are like sitting in a vibrator. But, all right, so that looks good. Bleed page. This is still bugged and broken. These high pressure valves should be closed in this configuration. Everything else, though, looks pretty normal. I don't really see any discrepancies there. That looks good. Cabin pressure. Everything's looking good here. We're in the closed configuration there. That looks good. Electrical page. Everything is running normal. Somebody asked me, they said they were flying the Tolus and they had a TR1 failure or a TR1 fault. I looked up the procedure before starting this stream, and we were correct. We discussed it in Discord. It's just a crew awareness. TR1 fails, TR2 will pick up the electrical load through the AC Essential, and we'll just go about our business. It's only a crew awareness item. If you lose TR1, you will lose the ability to do a Cat 3 dual approach, however. So going in somewhere where it's extremely foggy, you know, it might be something to be of consideration, but for the most part, it's just a crew awareness, nothing to worry about there. I forget who asked that. It might have been Slam Cannon, actually. I apologize for forgetting who asked that. Hydraulic page looks good here. Everything's in the green. Our quantity is looking normal. Fuel page.
414, contact LA Center 124.62.
124.62. Cactus 414, is it? LA Center, good afternoon. Cactus 414, level 360.
LA Center Delta 1862, flight level 210, Addons Papa.
Fuel page looks good. Little unburnt fuel there in the center tank there. No problem.
1862, Los Center Center, roger.
It's going to be weird when I go back to work and everything's in pounds. I'm going to be like, why do we have so much gas? But everything's going to be in pounds, and then we'll end up having issues. All right. Everything looks good. APU gen is off. Nothing to see there. Conditioning. 22 in the forwards. That is perfect cockpit control. Looks good. Alright guys, so fun fact, I've mentioned it before, even in the professional series, but everything that I'm looking at here in these status pages, if something were to fail or go wrong, I'm going to get an ECAM message anyway. So this is just kind of preemptive looking. For instance, we had a crew one time that they pulled up their hydraulic page, and the hydraulic was almost to the amber line. It wasn't there yet, but it was right there. And they discovered that they actually had a hydraulic leak before it tripped the ECAM. So in that sense, it's good. But in all reality, anything that fails in any of these pages, you're going to get an ECAM, except the crew, or I'm sorry, the cockpit oxygen. So this is the only system here on these status pages that if it were to fall below the green or normal level, this is the only one that will not trigger an ECAM. So that's just kind of a fun fact for you guys. Wheel page, everything looks good, closed up, nice and cool. Flight controls, looking good here. You can see our I forget what these are called. There's a name for these little brackets, but basically what they do is they limit the amount of movement from the rudder. So even if I were to mash on the rudder full left, it would only deflect to right here, and that's a function of flight control computers. That way you don't accidentally do, like if you do full hard over left, hard over right, you could snap the rudder off. That actually happened to a crew. I believe it was an American Airlines crew shortly after 9/11 on a 7.6. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But essentially what happened is they reversed the rudder hard over, I think 2 or 3 times, and it ended up failing and ripped the whole tail section off. Not good. Alright, so that looks good. We've reached cruising altitude. Let's go ahead and start looking at... So I don't actually have the charts. I'll pull them up for you guys on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my actual company charts for coming into Los Angeles because... I have Jeppesen charts, and these are U.S. government charts, so they're slightly different. But I'm going to pull it up so you guys can see it anyway. Let's see here. What am I looking for? Los Angeles.
Heavy, contact departure,
LAX. Boom. LAX, we are going to come down on the Angel 4. So let's look at Angel 4 RNAV. We'll download that image. We'll rotate it over once. Beautiful. Hackman transition. We're coming in from Hackman up here. We've got a couple of restrictions. All the way down to Circus. Bottoms out at 12,270 knots. That's for 2.5 left. We'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that page up as we get a little bit closer. We'll prepare for our descent. Right now we are looking good. Fat, dumb, and happy, as we like to call it. Nothing going wrong. Our brains aren't working that hard because there's nothing to do, and we are happy in that state. Oh, baby, look at that sight. All right, missed a lot of chats there, but let's get back to it here. Carter Joel says, V1 Sim, nice cheers for that. Nice to know about the TR1 bus system. Carter, you're the one that asked the question. Thank you. Yeah, I apologize. Not Slam Cannon. Thank you, Carter. But yes, you were correct. Did everything right. Fun little failures to have there simulated on the tow list. You said I feel like you don't remember me cry. I'm sorry, man. If you guys watched my membership video, I posted about how the Discord is getting, it's insane. So that's kind of why I'm launching memberships for this channel too, is because I want as many people to come to the Discord and interact with us, and I want everybody to learn, have a good time, but I also want to be able to answer as many questions as I can and teach you guys. So that's what the memberships will allow you to do. Even a private pilot or commercial pilot, you get access to the V1 After Dark Discord. It's going to be a little bit more intimate setting for us to communicate. So if you really have some questions that you want me personally to answer, that's where you should go ahead and post them, and I'll be able to get to those much faster because every time I pull up my Discord, I mean, my phone has been dying, twice a day just because the notifications are going off and I get 50 messages every 10 minutes. So, and that's not a bad thing. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys are interacting. I don't know if Phantom 320, there I see you in the chat. You guys are talking Airbus and airplanes, and I love it. That's awesome. Keep doing it. But I just wanted to have a little separate setting for some guys that want to, talk to me personally. I think that is in fairness for you guys. So if you have questions for me personally or technical stuff, throw it in the V1 After Dark. Also, all your Q&As, I'll answer those on video for you. And I'm also going to be publishing some unlisted video content for the members there in that V1 After Dark Discord. So good to have it. Good to have it. Fifth Freedom says, V1 Sim, it would wonders for everyone if Flight Factor listened to folks like you and worked on improving their birds like Zeba does. It makes a world of difference. Yeah, I believe that, Fifth Freedom. I wish they did. I'm sure by now y'all understand how I feel about Flight Factor. Y'all know the story. We're not going to get into it, but yeah, I came out with suggestions and I pointed out some errors in their product when it first came out, and essentially they just tried to shut me up. I even received a temporary ban from the X-Plane forums. So we'll leave it at that. With that being said, though, I mean, I don't hate their product, obviously. At this point, it's still very flyable. I'm using their product to get myself in a position to go back to work, even though it's not necessarily required of me. I just want to be in the best shape possible, mentally and physically, for going back to the cockpit. Captain Tom says, a V1 Sim, it was an A300 with a V-stab sheared off. Awesome. It was an A300. Okay, yes.
Bravo, Los Angeles helicopters ident.
I stand corrected. American 587. Okay, yep. Yep. Yeah, now that sounds familiar. You guys were talking about it. So they took off behind the 7.4. They ended up in some wake turbulence, and they did a full hardover on the rudders left and right. Dougal says, so sad about the BSS delay for Tollus. These sounds are great. I totally agree, Dougal. It is a bummer, but hey, what are you going to do? Let's hop outside here for a minute. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's beautiful. I don't even want to land. I just want to keep flying. All right. Captain Canada in the house?
Distortion noise.
How's it going, man? Wow, we have a celebrity in the house here, guys. Captain Canada, glad to have you here on the stream, man. I've been watching your content for quite a while, too. You put out some awesome videos. I always marvel at your stream quality, man. You've got some of the sharpest looking streams I've seen on YouTube, so I'm sure you all have heard of Captain Canada. I don't need to give him an introduction, but happy to have you here, Captain Canada. Hopefully, maybe one day I get to see you on one of my flights if you're ever coming back down to the States. So I hope you're always, if you're on an Airbus, man, pop up front and say hello.
You have a fan blowing into your microphone.
Shaggy says, this looks so clean. How many FPS?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Let's take a quick look at it here. I'm not exactly sure. Let's go into FPS here. Right now, I'm pumping out. It looks like it's fluctuating between 38 to 41. Now it's pretty much stabilizing. Yeah, it's fluctuating 38, 41 in the frames right now, so. Daniel Smith says, if you slam that thing, you'll get a job right in there. Hey, I've already slammed it a couple times, man. Captain Ken says, always a pleasure to grab some real-world knowledge. Awesome, man. Much respect to have you here. Daniel Smith, you're talking about slamming it to get a job at Real Air. So I was actually discussing this with Phantom 320, who's a I guess I call him a colleague. We used to fly, well, no, we didn't fly together, but long story short, he flies the Airbus, or used to fly the Airbus, and we were talking about why it's so hard to get a real smooth landing for us in the sim. And I think what happens is I'm trained, I have specific muscle memory on stick deflection on touchdown. And the biggest thing you're worrying about, especially in a 321, a little bit on a 320, and really not much at all on a 319, is tail strike awareness. So 7.5 degrees pitch up attitude, that's I call it the unemployment attitude. I always, I brief that with whoever I'm flying with. So I say max pitch, 7.5 degrees, that's unemployment attitude. You hit that, tail strike, game over. Now that's for a 321 compressed struts, but I still use that across the board just to give us extra buffer. So I think what is happening after discussing this with Phantom, we think that both the Flight Factor and the Tollus have overcompensated for the nose down pitching moment or the landing flare behavior of the aircraft. So it actually requires, in the sim, much more back pressure on the stick to get a smooth landing. And as Airbus pilots, it makes us uncomfortable to apply that much pressure because our muscle memory is telling us where the stick needs to be to get a smooth landing. And in the sim, that's not translating because in the sim it requires more. And so with that being said, I really think that's what the issue is in the sim, because in real life, I mean, that's especially in a 321, you're coming in at about 2 or 3 degrees nose up, pretty much where the attitude is right now, and your pitch limit is right here on a 321. So you don't have a whole lot of buffer to cushion that. And if you get a gust of wind or something and that tail hits the ground, it's game over. So I think that might be what's causing some of the firmer landings for myself. Now that's, any good pilot will tell you that's an excuse. So that's my excuse for when we slam it down in LA. But if you want to know how to get a greaser, check out Captain Canada, because I watched his last Tollus stream, and my goodness, I don't think I've ever had a 76 or whatever it was. I mean, he greased that puppy. So I'm not saying it can't be done. It can be done. And he's the guy to show you how to do it. I'll show you how to get a job at Ryanair. Captain Slovenia asks, does Mativia mod drop FPS? I didn't really notice any. I didn't really notice any. All right, let's take a look. We're 297 miles out of Los Angeles. Let's pull up our box here. Let's look at some constraints. We're a little bit early on it, but I just want to stay ahead of air traffic control because I know they like to give us some descents early. So Laker, Zyzex, Hackman. Was it? Oh yeah, Schittner. Well, it's not actually Schittner. It's Shatner. This fix here. Don't say Schittner on the radio. But it is Shatner. And I'm pulling up the chart here. I'm pulling up my chart as well because this is for my knowledge as well. I want to compare. Okay, so everything looks good. Our first restriction should be at Gleason. So let's come down here. We got Gleason, which is right here, at or below 30, above 24, 280 knots. Angel, Can, Boyle, Circus with a disco. We're going to leave that disco because we don't know which runway we're going to get. I've got 2.5 left in the box right now, but if we get a descend via at this point, we're going to set 12,000 blue. We're going to expect to be at between 12 and 14,000 at 270 knots upon reaching Circus before we reach our runway transition. I'll leave that disco in there until we get actually cleared for a runway assignment. If they do give us 2.5 left, which in real life it's very common to get a runway assignment far out on the star, and in fact they'll actually clear you for the approach way far out. So this is one of those airports where I always talk about the use of the taxi light, clear to approach, clear to land, the two separate positions. This one comes in handy because they'll say you're cleared approach at 50 miles from the airport, but I won't actually arm the approach push button that far out because you can end up getting oscillations on the localizer course tracking inbound. So the localizer technically is only tested out to about, I think it's 23 miles or maybe even be 30 miles. But if you're out at 50 miles, it happens in Chicago O'Hare as well. They clear you super far out. The aircraft will start oscillating left and right. So I just keep it in nav mode, keep it in GPS until we get a little bit closer, then I'll press the approach push button. Either way, 2.5 left, that's all the way down there. That's good for now. I won't load up the performance data just yet because we don't have a runway assignment, but what I will do is I'll put LAX right here in the prog page, get us a direct down and dirty bearing and distance. Our descent speed, we're not going to do 80. We're going to do 79 and 3. What was our first speed restriction? Was 280. So we're going to do 79 and 300 on the speed on the descent. Oops. And the approach phase, we will see. Let's see. I'm going to pull up the real weather right now before we get closer. And according to LA weather, it's IFR right now. Winds are 100 at 3, so that's probably going to indicate some fog still sitting over the field. 103, 2 miles visibility, haze, overcast 600, temperature is 22, dew point of 19er, and altimeter 29er, 9er 1. So those are prime conditions for that marine layer that moves in there. We'll have that set for now. We'll hold off on the MDA until we actually get a runway assignment. Alright, so we're a little bit ahead of the box. Let's go enjoy some more Forkboy Ortho photo scenery. There we go. Techno Aviator says, do you pre-plan your flight plan and secondary flight plan in the air like you have a quick turnaround? No, Tech. We always plan the secondary flight plan. We always input the return to field in the secondary. It doesn't matter how quick our turnaround is because that is a key to staying ahead of this aircraft. So if you were to take off, the one time you don't set up your secondary flight plan, I guarantee you that's the one time you're going to have an emergency return to the field. So, I mean, just take note of my 737-200 video when we took off and had that engine fire. I didn't even think about an emergency return to the airfield, and that's on me. I should have. So when the engine caught fire and we had to return back, I was all discombobulated. I didn't even have the right chart loaded up. So always program your secondary like you're doing an engine failure return to the field every time, because when you've got 200 plus people sitting behind you, their lives are counting on you to do it right, and you only have one shot to do it. In the sim, you crash, whatever, restart, there are no resets in real life. So although I joke around in the sim, you know, and we have fun, when it's actually time to work and you're in the cockpit, you only have one shot to get it right, and you don't mess up. Because if you mess up, people die. So always program your secondary no matter where you're going. Phantom 320 says, it's too bad I didn't discover your YouTube before I left. We could have flown together. I hear you, Phantom. I hear you, man. Well, maybe one day you'll be the controlling controller, I guess, and we'll be able to talk on the radio. You'll have to let me know where you end up, what center you at, or tower. How do you determine if you get a center or tower airport job, Phantom? Is it based on something that you guys apply for, or how do you? That's kind of one thing I've always wondered too about air traffic control is how do you determine where you go between centers and airport operations? Just Aviation says, oh cool, I am new to the Flight Factor 320. I've just decided to buy it. Awesome, man. You're going to enjoy it, Just Aviation. Mogu says, Captain V1, where is the best time to click? When is the best time to click the VOR switch? How far away from the glide slope? The VOR switch. Are you, and then you're talking about glide slope. So I'm going to assume you're talking about the localizer push button. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're talking about the localizer push button, the only time that you would press the localizer push button is if A, you are doing a localizer approach off of an ILS and you don't want glide slope information as well as pushing your glide slope inhibit up here on your GPWiz, or air traffic control says intercept the localizer for 25 left and they don't give you a cleared approach. Intercept the localizer just means intercept the loc course, not the vertical deviation. So you would press localizer in that aspect there. Any other time, you would just press the approach push button, because the approach push button is going to do both lateral, which this button is for here, and vertical. So the only time you do lateral only is when directed by ATC, or if your approach that you're shooting requires localizer frequencies only. If you're talking about the LS push buttons, we push those at 250 miles out when we start our brief. So we are, look at that, 241 miles out. So let's do a quick approach briefing for you guys here. Let's see, I've got that plate there. I'm gonna use my actual approach plate that I have on my iPad next to me for the approach briefing. So you guys aren't gonna actually see the approach, but if you want to follow along, I'm gonna brief the ILS 25 left into Los Angeles, and I'm gonna just go ahead and put in the perf data right now. The MDA for 25 left in LA is 304 feet. So we'll put that in the MDA box right there. And let's go ahead and execute an approach briefing.
That's 1888. I can't do anything.
All right, so we're in Airbus A320. We're going to be descending via the Angel 4 RNAV arrival.
Again, squawk 2504.
The arrival bottoms out at Circus 270 knots between 14 and 12,000 feet. If we have to go amiss, we're going to continue straight out, intercept to Catley, hold, right turns. That's in the box, matches the plate. The frequency for the approach is 109.9 ILAX. Approach course is 251 as depicted on the chart and our PFD. Glide slope intercept is projected to be at 1,900 feet over Lima intersection. The DA is 304 feet, which is in the box, which we just programmed, and it should be noted up here in our FMA. Below 250 nautical miles, we should be getting our MDA right here, which it does not happen at 250. I don't know when it actually turns on in the flight factor, but should be there in the box. We'd verify that. Touchdown zone is 104 feet. We have 3 different sector altitudes for minimum sector avoidance and terrain clearance in Los Angeles, the highest sector being off to the north of 7,700 feet. Landing on runway 25 left. As I look at the chart here, we have 11,095 feet available minus the displaced threshold. We're going to plan a right-hand turnoff, probably a high-speed Hotel 7 or November. If we don't make either of those, we can always roll it down to Hotel 9 or Tango. We have 1 runway to cross. Once we're on the ground, we'll make sure we don't cross that without air traffic control clearance. Following that, we're going to make another right-hand turn and a left turn into the terminal area. We will not complete any after-landing checklist until crossing the second runway. We're at a 320 for tail strike avoidance. We're going to land flaps full. Auto brakes are low. Full reverse and full flaps. Any questions? No questions. All right, approach briefing is complete. Let's hop outside. Oh, that looks nice right there. My goodness, that looks nice. Jim Harvey says, V1 Sim, I think it's great that I don't have to feel embarrassed now when I tell real airline pilots I use X-Plane since more real pilots accept it. They used to scoff at desktop sims. Jeremy Harvey, even when I was an instructor, like on a Cessna 172, we had a trainer, and it was an FTD trainer. It was a desktop simulator, and the software that we used was actually X-Plane. It was run by Laminar Research. I don't know if it was the commercial version of X-Plane. I think they have another version, but it was certified by the FAA, and you actually logged flight time on that. So a lot of the sim, or we call it FTD, it wasn't actually a simulator because it's not full motion. It's just what you see a tabletop sim with full cockpit controls as well. So you had full cockpit controls, but the software that ran it was actually made by Laminar Research. So that should be a testament right there. I have that flight time in my logbook somewhere. One of my logbooks actually has that FTD time in it. So if that's not a testament to, you know, how real do airplanes, can they fly in the sim, that should be an explanation for you. Mr. Dillon's getting out here, need to head off as I'm called for the next session. Dual GE90 engine flame out plus ditching. Oh, that sounds exciting, Dylan. Have fun with that, man. Make sure to post some updates, Dylan. That's exciting. All right. Captain Tom says Cedar is so good. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. This is the Fork Boy Ortho. I can't take credit for it other than Fork Boy doing it, and Q8 Pilot telling me how to get it installed, because there is a few extra steps you got to run for converting the file format, but it sure looks pretty, doesn't it? Saya says on our operation we do a quick align if air is greater than 5 nautical miles. Interesting. Yeah, we'll do a quick align at the gate if we're swapping crews or something like that. Oh, of course, if the deviation is out of tolerance. Captain Slovenia says, do you use any FPS boosters? No, I do not. I'm just running X-Plane, and I've got a bunch of different things. We've got Active Sky on, Streamlabs, and of course just YouTube, the channel page there, so I can monitor the stream health and things like that in the chat box. So other than that, that's the only thing that's running. Although I think I also have my Razer headset sound mixer on as well. Well, that's it. Dougal says I used X-Plane 10 for my PBL2. Nice. Alright, we should be getting closer to a top of descent here. I feel like, maybe not. The ATIS 4 is 33.8. I wish, so I think that is a bug then with Flight Factor too, because I can't get any comms. Uh-oh. What is that? Why do we go to heading mode? Nav up. Okay. How about direct Shatner? Direct 2, insert, nav. Interesting. So you guys heard that triple chirp? I don't know what caused us to come off of heading mode, but that triple chirp means we have a revision, live and die by the FMA. So I noticed that the airplane tripped into heading mode. I don't know if I hit something on accident or what, but we're back nav, Shatner, everything looks good. We'll go ahead and turn the terrain on. And we don't need the weather radar anymore, so I'll go ahead and save some radiation. I may want to have another kid here before too long, so let's go ahead and turn the radar off. We'll turn our terrain mode on. And we are just waiting to start down. Technical aviator says, do you often use heading during cruise in real life V1? Sometimes we'll use heading if we're deviating around weathers. So if there's weather cells popping up, you know, we ask for deviations left or right. Every now and then, air traffic control will use a vector to sequence you behind traffic. So if you're, especially going to Los Angeles, you may be getting either close to somebody or there's somebody behind you. They might vector you off airway a little bit to get you on proper spacing protocol for them. So we'll use heading for that. But other than that, most of the flight is in nav mode, you know, unless of course you're deviating. And I know flying to Florida in the summertime is pretty much all done in heading mode because you're deviating the entire flight over there from the thunderstorms that pop up over the Gulf and the southern half of the United States. So one of my first flights back from my vacation last year, it was actually a line check. So I hadn't flown for 2 weeks.
Cactus 414, descend via Angel 4 arrival.
Descend via the Angel 4, Cactus 414. Alright, we know what to do. We're going to set 12,000 feet right there. How are we looking to top a descent? 55 miles. We'll keep that up so we don't forget it. So I came back from vacation. I hadn't flown about 2 weeks. And a line check basically is you have a line check airman that sits on the jump seat, and he is checking you to make sure you are not doing anything wrong, you're not getting any strikes. For instance, like when we took off out of Salt Lake, I didn't have terrain mode on out of a mountainous airport, so that would have been a strike on my part, and I should have had that up. I think I also forgot one other thing. Oh, the chronometer. Well, he probably wouldn't have dinged me for the chronometer, maybe. But you guys already crucified me for that. So anyway, you have I had the line check airman on the jump seat. The guy's flying with brand new, so he didn't know what he was doing. And there were storms all over between Dallas and Orlando. And I think we might have flown over 2 fixes that were actually on our flight plan. So that entire flight was done in heading mode. Then we got to where we needed to start down. They changed our arrival to an arrival that was all the way on the south side, which added about 100 miles to our flight. So now we're getting low on fuel. We were not dispatched with an alternate. So you can see the snowball chain of events happening, right? We have an unfamiliar crew that is, you know, just getting back to work. We have a new FO. We have weather. We have not filed. We don't have an alternate on our flight plan, and now we're getting a new arrival. So everything starts getting compounded up. We're on the arrival, the new arrival, descending into Florida, and they shut the airport down for a microburst that was directly over the field. So now we have to enter a hold, and I'm just like, I'm pulling my hair out, right? Because I just wanted to have a nice chill flight to get back into the swing of things. And so they give us a hold, and it's not even a normal hold. It's one of those holds that are like intercept the Orlando 256 radial 13 DME left turns 5 mile leg. So a complete non-standard hold that wasn't in the box. So we had to build the hold manually from the McDo, which I don't think you can do in the Flight Factor RAM without crashing to desktop. So I'm not even going to attempt to do it. But we had to build the hold manually, enter the hold, and then I realized that, hey, we are way low on gas. We can't hold for long here. We're going to have to bust out and go to a different airport. So now the other guy is calculating fuel to the next airport and when we have to bug out. And basically we said we have one turn in the hold and we got to go. And luckily on that turn inbound on the hold, the airport opened up and they gave us a vector in, and we just said, all right, here we go. We don't have another option. We're going in. We have to land here, period. And so you could see, luckily, I mean, the remainder of the flight went off without a problem, and the check airman actually said that we did a good job. And in that, you know, high workload environment like that, it's the room for error is very small, and we did a good job at mitigating risk and stuff. So it worked out, but that just seems how it goes. So I'm hoping when I go back to work on Wednesday that it's not like that. But we'll see. Dougal says I switched all my standard USA orthos to Forkboy and it's way better. Awesome, Dougal. I love the Forkboy stuff. Alright, so we are 28 miles. We'll start down here momentarily. They always like to leave us high, so I'm probably going to start down early in California. I'll probably start down at about 10 miles. Hopefully it won't go full jar design and go 7,000 feet a minute, trip the overspeed protection. Saji says, I can see after watching your streams there are differences between how we operate our airline and yours. Anyway, it is safe both sides. Yeah, so Saji, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's an Airbus, man. There's 100 different ways to do the same thing, and they're all correct. So there's so many differences from airline to airline and country to country. So there's no one way, right way in an Airbus for the most part. There's always multiple ways to do something. Royce says, I switched engine 2 off once, panning around on the flight deck. Well, that'll wake you up. Cianti, currently on approach into LaGuardia. Awesome, man. That should be fun. Which runway are you landing out there in LaGuardia? Moga Moga says, Captain V1, what are the atmospheric conditions required to switch on wing and engine anti-ice? Are there any rules of thumb that you use before switching on anti-ice? All right, so long story or simplified answer. Plus or minus 10 C on the TAT is when you're going to be in icing conditions. So you definitely want to have the engine anti-ice on. Now, there's some other stipulations when climbing up a high altitude, and I think it's like minus 30 C, or if you're descending and it's 30 C, 35 C, there's some other stuff. But without getting into detail, just know plus 10, minus 10 is a window for icing conditions. And in the Airbus particularly, it's our procedure that we don't really use the wing anti-ice unless necessary or deemed necessary by the flight crew. And that's because the Airbus in general doesn't actually accumulate very much ice. Vertical Sim coming in with $2 donation. I just released Spokane. I thought I'd let you know. Thanks for the donation, man. Appreciate it. Spokane. I'll have to check it out, man. I'll have to check it out, Vertical Sim. But thanks for the donation, man. Glad to have you here. So the engine anti-ice, I'm sorry, not the engine, the wing anti-ice, we'll turn that on if we are in, significant icing. We're about 10 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and start down, push for descent. We'll put this in below mode. Cactus 414, we're starting down, Angel 4. And so it's the wing anti-ice actually requires a significant amount, or it takes a significant amount of performance from your engine. So it's recommended that if we have to use it on approach, that we actually turn it off passing the final approach fix inbound. Because if we have to execute a go-around, we want to have that performance to fly the go-around. And at that point, the wings, the leading edges of the wings, it's only going to be slats 3, 4, and 5, or 2, 3, 4, 5. The outboard 3 slats are the only things that are heated when you turn on wing anti-ice. So the inboard isn't heated, nothing over here is heated, it's only the outboard 3. So at that point, they'll be hot enough anyway to continue the approach from the final approach fix inbound, and then once you go around, then you can reactivate wing anti-ice. Now on takeoff, I actually had this happen to me last winter. It was moderate to severe icing reported in the clouds for people coming into Chicago, and we were departing, so we're like, can we actually depart in this, because it's not icing on the ground, it's just reported aloft. So we went through our manuals, we looked at our books, and sure enough, we could take off. We followed another guy out. We're like, well, if he's going, I guess we can go too, right? Which isn't the best attitude to have, but we actually looked it up in our books as well, and we said there was nothing prohibiting us from going. So, but the only caveat there is you can't use wing anti-ice until you have a clean wing in our book. So it was, positive rate, gear up, get that nose down, accelerate, flap 0, anti-ice on, wing anti-ice on, because we actually were picking up a significant amount of ice. And you'll be able...
Contact Los Angeles Center 126.35.
Was that 126.37 for Cactus 414?
126.35.
126.35, Cactus 414, is it? LA Center, good morning, Cactus 414, 33 descending via the Angel 4.
Cactus 414, Los Angeles, altimeter 2991.
91, Cactus 414. Alright, so I got lost what I was saying there, but yeah, we use this. This is an ice detect switch right here, or not a switch, but just a probe, and you can turn on the lights. There it is, this one here. So this will light up at night and you can see if you're accumulating ice. And on that departure, this whole thing covered up almost instantly. So we were in some serious icing conditions. But the Airbus handled it well. And there is no icing on the empennage here. So there's nothing on the vertical stab and there's nothing on the horizontal stab either. The Airbus in general is just not very inherent to picking up ice. So more often than not, we use the engine heats because they're pretty much free and plus or minus 10. Or if we're descending and we know we're going to be going into an area of known icing, we'll warm up the engines. But we won't use the wing anti-ice unless, you know, we're actually picking up some significant icing conditions. Slam Cannon says Joe Design would be a great developer to make us a 7.3 Max. Oh my goodness. Shots fired. I love it. Thanks for the subscribe there, Needle of the Skies. I'm glad to have you here, man. Alright guys, we are descending. And look at that beautiful weather there. Let's see. 24. What was the ATIS? What did I say it was? It was 33.8. So I can only pick it up on comm 1.
ILS runway 24 right and runway 25 left approach and use.
So we get. And approach kick 414. We got to step off comm 1 here for a second and pick up the ATIS.
Delta 1888, contact smoke approach 13594.
Information X-ray.
X-ray.
Los Angeles International Airport. 8 tips information X-ray. 15530. Wind 090 at 3. Visibility 2. Haze. Ceiling 600 overcast. Temperature 22. Dew point 19er. Altimeter 29er 1. Arriving runways 24 right. 25 left. Departing runways 24 left. 25 left. 25 right. ILS
Alright,
runway.
we got it. We're back on 1, Cactus 414. Alright, so we're approaching 280 at Gleason. We should have the decel here. There's our decel point. Let's see how she handles it. I'm going to minimize this one just a little bit here. Active sky doing its thing. 280 knots, beautiful. Maybe we need a 737 Max emoji, or would that be too triggering for some people? I don't know. CNT says you're landing ILS 4 in LaGuardia. Awesome. Post some screenshots, man. Tech Aviator says, thank you. When I replay flights from Flight Radar 24, I almost always see these very small turns of your flight plan. I'm like, what's the point? Yeah, most likely weather avoidance, or sometimes even if there's just a small cell and you can see the anvil top kind of draws an extended part of the cumulonimbus cloud, that can be very bumpy. It can contain hail and some other hazards. So for extra precaution, sometimes we'll just do a small deviation, just, you know, a couple miles off course. So that's probably what you're seeing on the flight radar. Alright guys, we are approaching LA now. Let's go ahead and step outside just for a few more minutes, and then I'll be in chat, and then we're going to pretty much go steer cockpit below 10 because I don't want to mess this up. We got to go serious mode. I probably should have used the lav when we were in cruise, but it's too late now. Daniel Smith says, speaking of anti-ice, guess what I forgot to set and engage about 50 miles from my top of descent? VNAV? I don't know, what did you engage 50 miles prior to top of descent, Daniel Smith? Borzo said, what is the sim? This is X-Plane 11. Daniel Leonard says, just came V1 sim. Awesome.
Approach 132.37.
132.37 for Cactus 414 sim. SoCal approach, good morning, Cactus 414, 22.5, descending via the Angel 4, information X-ray, request to park on the south side.
Yes, 414, SoCal approach, cleared ILS, runway 25 left approach, LA altimeter 29991.
Cleared ILS approach 25 left, Cactus 414. Alright, so there you go, guys. He cleared us for approach. That's just like they do it in real life. Look at that. We're 77 miles from the airport. So this is one of those situations where I'm not going to press the approach push button, but I am going to turn on the engine anti-ice because we are entering some icing conditions. So engine anti-ice is on. We're descending. We're cleared approach, so I'm going to move the taxi light or into the taxi position. Probably should have turned the seatbelt sign on a while ago. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, Captain speaking, we are on our final descent into Los Angeles. Just about 74 miles to the field. Should have you on the ground here in the next 15-20 minutes. Weather in LA, nice morning, about 72 degrees, light winds, very cloudy skies, limited visibility, only about 2 miles. On behalf of this Dallas-based flight crew, we want to be the first to welcome you into Los Angeles. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival. Evergreen 641 says, do you find Pilot Edge better than VATSIM? Yes, I do. I think the voice software that they use is much better, and it's so easy to use, man. You just plug and play and done. It is sad that they only cover a small part of the US, but it is very high quality. And I've said it before, like, the best part of simulation is when you forget that you're actually in the sim. And when I had that violation in Portland, I felt anxious. I felt like I actually violated airspace and my certificate was going to be in jeopardy. So that's how good it is. Especially that one controller. I think somebody said his name is Toby or something. I don't know if he just sounds more mean than he actually is, but I almost think he doesn't like me. And yeah, man, it's immersive. So, all right, we're approaching 18. Let's go ahead and set 2-9er. Whoops, easy there, Tiger. 2-9er, 9er 1. Set once, set twice, and oh, come on. 2-9er, 9er 1. Set 3 times. At 18, let's do an approach checklist. Briefing's complete. ECAM status is checked. Auto brakes are low. Seatbelts on minimums. We've got it now, 304 set. Altimeters are set 29991 3 times. Approach checklist complete. Alright, so since he did clear us, guys, this is one thing we should do, is I'm going to go plan mode here. We're going to clear the disco out of circus, and after circus, it is to crane. So we need to actually load an approach via arrival and approach vias circus. Oh, see, so this is where it wants to load us all the way back. So what I'm going to do here is so this is an instance where we're going to use heading mode. I'm going to go select heading. I'm going to insert this. And now I'm going to redirect us to Boyle. And actually, that's the wrong Boyle. Oh, we're getting off speed. So I just made a mess of this. Direct Boyle, insert. Nav it up. Nav. Alright. So I had to reload the approach via there because the flight vector box was a little funky on loading it prior. So now let's take a look at this, make sure we're not messing up here. I'm going to make this larger. So we have crane at 10. Oops. Boyle, circus, crane. So now we've loaded the approach via to rock, dymo, all the way down. So we can actually set our final approach fix altitude now, since we have been cleared for the approach at 1900 for Lima. So the box looks verified. Let's go back to arc mode. I'm going to set 1900 feet up here in the FCU. Now we are a little bit high on the descent path. This plane has a hard time recalculating the top of descent. There's a couple tricks to do it in the real airplane, such as resetting your flap selection. That doesn't seem to do it either. Carter Joel says, if you want to heard Flight Factor Sim, they don't put the engine eye on us until under 10C and visible moisture. Yes, so that's, I'm sorry, I should have noted that as well. Yeah, you have to have visible moisture, guys, to be in icing conditions. So even if it's a -7 outside and it's clear in a million, you're not going to have any ice. It's not possible. You have to have visible moisture. So +10, -10C, and your invisible moisture, whether that's clouds, rain, snow, things of that nature. It's 270 knots at Circus. That looks good. Max 270. Now we're turning to Crane. So we are just passing Circus. So now we're off to the approach. So I can actually get rid of that. Let's load up the approach so you guys can see it here.
1377 lost, John Wayne
25
Clark,
left.
Pins 2 departure,
This is our approach that we are shooting.
Via City except maintain 5000. Departure frequency
Los Angeles Tower. We'll go ahead and put that in the standby. Tower for the south side on 25 is going to be South Complex 2095. We may have one frequency change prior, but let's put 2095 in the box just in case.
Southwest 1377 reback. Delta 1888, Ontario Airport 11.
All right, we are getting ready to go below 10,000 feet. I'm going to manually select 250 knots. I will confirm, activate the approach phase, ding the flight attendants, and how's our eyes? We are out of the icing conditions. Let's go ahead and kill the heats. We'll get our lights on, and let's take a look. All right, so we are on our descent, approaching 10,000. We do one more PA. Flight attendants prepare for landing. That is our final warning to them, so now they know they have minimal time before the aircraft's on the ground. Fifth Rim says, don't worry, I called LAX to get their runway grease removals units. Oh man, you always jinx me when you say that, Fifth Freedom. I feel like whenever you say that, man. But hey, I'm looking for touchdown in the touchdown zone without collapsing the gear trucks, and I'll be happy. We're gonna put it down. I don't want to over flare to get a butter. I really don't. I'm gonna flare it how my brain is telling me I should have the pitch attitude, and if it's firm, it'll be firm. But I don't want to get in the habit of over flaring these airplanes. I mean, I've been flying X-plane now for 8 weeks. What the heck is going to happen when I get in the real cockpit and I call up, wrong call sign, over flaring? I end up getting fired. I have to make this a full-time job. All right, we're 9.6. We're out of 10. Everything has been completed. Let's do... We already did the approach checklist, so we are good to go. How's our temps outside? They're warming up. All right, we are at Tarik. So, or Tarak. Oops, didn't mean to highlight that there. So Tarak is right here. We'll go a little bit further. We're still 31 miles from the low. It should be ILAX 1099. This is not showing the correct one yet. We'll wait till we get a little bit closer to make sure it is. All right. Carter says V1 Sim. Okay, so pretty much the same. Makes me wonder how you deal with the visible moisture part and icing conditions during the night.
Delta 1888 contact Ontario Tower 1.
It's pretty common, Carter, that if we're in the night, we're not sure if we're on icing. I'll go ahead and turn on one of the wing lights, you know, to see if they are, if we can see precip outside. Or, you know, depending on how fast you are, you can turn on a landing light. But generally speaking, you don't want to pop these puppies out above 250 knots because it really starts to make some noise and vibrations. There is no limitation, believe it or not, on the landing lights extension, but they make noise and they vibrate above 250, that's for sure.
That's 1888 Ontario Tower, only 26.
All right, there is 7,000 at Fuller. We're within 26 miles. and I'm not picking up a Loken slope yet. Let's go to the RadNav page. ILAX 109.9 is supposed to be in there, so let's just hang tight here for a second.
1377 John ground, pushing off for brood.
New member, welcome Robert B. Glad to have you here, Robert. Glad you're enjoying the content, man. I'm loving the new memberships. Those epaulets look good on you guys. Looking juicy. Fifth Freedom says V1, the whole greaser thing is a sim quirk anyways. All matters in real life. In the zone and center line. Absolutely agree with you, Fifth Freedom. Center line in the touchdown zone.
Cactus 414, contact SoCal approach 124.9.
24.9, Cactus 414. Alright, so we had one more tower. 24.9 before we could go to tower. Approach morning, Cactus 414, 6.3, cleared, visual, 25 left. I'm sorry.
414,
I meant to say ILS.
LE altimeter 299.1.
299.1, and I apologize. We were cleared ILS 25 left. We're descending via. Alright, 5.9. There's our ILAX 109.9. You can see our Loken slope deviation there. Tower Freak is going to be what I say for South Complex 2095. Hand back over here. I feel like I'm doing a lot of panning with the camera. I hope it's not distorting the stream too bad. We'll put tower frequency on 2. Or on, and standby on 1. Let's go ahead and arm the approach. Let's go ahead and start slowing down as well. I'm going to select 210 on the speed. They didn't give me a speed restriction, but let's do it. Going down and slow down is not really a thing here in the Airbus. We're going to attempt to help it out here while we're at alt constraint. I'll minimize this back down a little bit, and then we will settle down on the camera movement. There's a VFE next, -10, flaps 1. Let's continue back to 180 actually. We are on the Loke. Loke has been captured. Things are looking good. New member, Captain Canada. I am completely honored, Captain Canada, to have you here in the house and becoming a member. Captain Canada, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. You are a rock in the simulation streaming community for sure, and I am honored to have you here become a member of this channel. Thank you so much. VFE next -10, flaps 2. So if you guys wonder where I'm getting that VFE, this little equal sign right here, that's your VFE. So our procedure is VFE -10 before extending the flaps. Alright, so that looks good. We are going to go ahead and get that speed brake closed. 180 knots, flaps 2. We're on the approach. Things are looking good. Oh, baby. Yoka. Captain Canada in the house, man. Honored to have you here, man. Awesome. Alright, let's do this. 3.2, descending, approaching Lima, our final approach fix in 1900. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Coming in on the Airbus, if you're at flaps 2, 180 knots, at 2,000 feet prior to touchdown, you will be on speed every time. You'll never be high, you'll never be fast. So that's our goal, flaps 2, 180 knots. At that point, I'm going to go ahead and manage the speed, and then drop the gear and configure for approach. We've got a donation coming in here. Thanks for the €10.99. Cap Canada is here as well. Safe flight. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm going to go ahead and focus on landing. Thanks for your support there, Polar. Appreciate it. All right, we are approaching 2,000 feet. above touchdown zone. The touchdown zone, that's why we brief it, is 100 feet, so 2100 MSL. We're going to start down. And here is our final approach fix.
414, contact LA Tower 120.905.
12095, Cactus 414, we'll see it. Alright, over to tower, manage up, gear down, set the go-around altitude for this approach is going to be 2,000 feet.
Right at Papa, and you can take straight ahead to terminal.
VFE next -10, flaps 3. Tower, good morning, Cactus 414, ILS 25 left.
Cactus 414, Los Angeles Tower, runway 25 left, clear to land, wind 100 at 5.
25 left, clear to land, Cactus 414. Alright, boys, we are clear to land. VFE next -10, flaps full. Do a cabin call. I gotta do this flight factor, flight attendant thing. And arm the spoilers. Alright, here we go. Landing checklist. Cabin crew has been advised. Auto thrust, speed, ECAM memo, landing all green. Landing checklist complete. We are clear to land. 25 left. Let's do this, boys. 1,000 stable. I get some members joining here, man. I can't see the chat. Smitty, 1+F, and Captain Geo. Thank you so much, guys, for becoming a member of this channel. Appreciate you guys. I'm trying not to let you down on this landing here. Things are looking good. I think I'm actually going to take manual control here, guys, because I want to practice hand flying this. So I'm going to go autopilot off, disengage. I'm going to keep the auto thrust on. I'm going to hand fly this ILS approach down for practice. Aircraft is configured. We are clear to land. This is low. I probably should have briefed the mist a little bit better, maybe.
$500.
500 feet. Stable. Holy crap, this is low. We should have probably maybe even set up for Cat 3.
100 above.
Runway in sight, a landing. Oh, that was cool.
200. Minimum. $100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. 5.
Spoilers. Oh, baby. Reverse green, decel. I'll take that one. 59 feet per minute. I think Captain Canada's good luck. 70 knots, coming to idle thrust, manual brakes.
Southwest 1377, contact depart.
We're going to go ahead and turn right here.
XL 617, contact Los Angeles Center.
Ooh, maybe 49 feet above the threshold. I aim for 50 foot. Beautiful. 59 foot per minute touchdown. I'll take it, guys. My landing is like that when we get back to work. I will take it. Alright, we got to clear this runway here. Let's not get carried away. We are getting ready for going back to work.
1377, SoCal departure, radar
we're going to come here. We're going to hold short.
8,000.
This is kind of the unwritten. We'll hold short here at Papa. I won't make the turn, actually. I'm going to stop here on this taxiway like that. And since he's not giving us anything, let's go ahead and reconfigure. Normally we won't reconfigure the aircraft after landing, but since we haven't got a taxi instruction yet, we're going to reconfigure it right now.
Los Angeles Center, Las Vegas, altimeter 299.
Prime the APU.
Cactus 414, cross runway 25 right at Papa. Taxi terminal via Papa Charlie, monitor ground on the other side.
Alright, clear cross 25 left, Papa Charlie, monitor ground on the other side, Cactus 414, we'll see you. Alright, Papa Charlie cleared across. We're going to hold off on the after landing checklist. Crossing an active runway, guys. Let's light them up. Even though we just turned them off. Light them up. Flap open. We'll spool up the APU as well. We'll start the chronometer. We'll use max reverse on that. Ground control south complex is going to be 2175. Actually, before I forget, I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect from Pilot Edge because I don't want to forget and get into the Replay, so Papa Charlie, that is the outer. We're clear of all actives. We'll kill it. Taxi light. And let's make a right on Charlie. Welcome to Los Angeles, everybody. Alright, let's see where we got. We are going to go to the next terminal, the Bradley terminal. So we're going to go around the corner here, look for a spot. Hopefully we'll have a spot over here on the left somewhere. Let's get back on the center line. Even though I just want to look around, it looks so pretty. I mean, I love that ground idle sound. I feel like I'm in the airplane. My goodness, that sounds so good. We should do an after landing checklist. So the first officer would be completing that at this time. Exterior lights set, flaps are retracted. TCAS is into standby mode. Ground support is disarmed. Radar and PWS is off. Alright, let's see. Is there a gate over here? There sure is. I believe this is Alaska Ramp, so we'd actually have to call them in real life. Alaska Ramp. You know, we need to come on in here. We'll get clearance, and in we go. Another member. Welcome, Phantom 320, man. Glad to have you here. We've been keeping up in chat. Thanks for supporting the channel, man. Alright, which gate are we going to? Let's park next to this RJ over here. Actually, let's park next to this Embraer, since you guys in Discord have got me wanting to buy the frickin' Embraer, so it's only fitting if we... Oh, we can't park next to it because there's a catering truck in the way. Oh no, he's in the safe zone. Alright, so we'll park here. We'll park next to him. I'm gonna have to do my track IR for this, so I apologize. It's gonna get a little wonky, but I want to not mess up my parking either. Technically, he's past the red line, so I wouldn't be able to park here. I'd have to say, I need you to move that truck. A320, that is us. Come on, baby. Nice and easy. This is not Southwest. Oop, oop, that was a little Southwest-ish right there. Brake set. APU is available, so let's go ahead and kill engine 2. Light or signs.
Subscriber ahead. Look up.
And engine 1. Wait for 10% N1. Subscriber coming in. Thank you, Jacob Mason. Thanks for subscribing. Glad you enjoyed the content, bud. Looking for 10% N1. There it is. Let's go ahead and kill the beacon light. And we can open up the doors and get out of here. Well, guys, welcome to Los Angeles. Told me to stop. We missed it by about a foot, so. All right, let's take a look at that replay. I'll catch up on some of this Captain Canada double butter. Oh, baby. All right, man, I appreciate it. All right, we are disconnected from Pilot Edge. Let's go ahead and disable Real View because that is known to crash the sim, and we'll get into the replay here. I really want to see this one, so let's back it up. That was a pretty fun approach. That was much lower on the viz than I was expecting. So, much lower on the visibility than expecting. But let's get into it, guys. We'll watch it from here for now. Breaking out of the clouds. Appreciate the butter emojis, man. You'll love it. I love it. Butter wrapped in margarine and doused with oil. Thanks, Fifth Freedom. Captain Tom, heading out to work. Thanks for checking the stream out, man. Have a good one. See you, 1+F. Phantom 320 says, I don't necessarily need the membership, but I'll support my brothers. Hey, I appreciate it, 320. I appreciate it, man. Fifth Freedom says, don't forget to press that like button. Oh, yeah. Flower petals coming out. Oh, that was good. That was good. Let's back it up a little bit. I want to watch this. I want to watch this break out here for a minute. Right about up there. Let's go outside. Let's go runway. Oh, is that the wrong runway? Way to go, X-Plane. Oh, wait. All right. Need this runway? Where are you going? What runway you going to, X-Plane? What the hell? Oh well, how about this one for now? There she comes, getting that flare. Ooh, that was greasy. I'm not gonna lie. Let's back it up again. We'll watch it from, since the runway doesn't seem to want to be playing nice. What about? All right, we'll watch it from here. Is this real life? Wow. Well, maybe I am ready to go back to work, guys. Maybe I am ready to go back to work. Let's watch this breakout out of the clouds real quick here. I want to see that again from inside. That was cool. I mean, I guess it reloaded the weather a little bit higher. That's why. How about from a wing view? Thanks for the subscribe, guys. Thank you for becoming members. Captain Canada, thanks for stopping by, becoming a member. I believe you are streaming later today, right? So if you guys haven't already heard of Captain Canada, which I would find it hard to believe if you haven't heard of him, go check him out. He is pretty legendary when it comes to streaming flight simulation, and give him a couple likes and subscribes because it's well deserved. All right, guys, I'm going to end it here with a few replays for you guys. I'm going to get out of here. I've got some family events to attend to. Thank you all for joining the stream. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for becoming members. Thank you for viewing and just interacting with in the chat. So I will leave it there, guys. I'll leave you guys with one or two more replays, and I will catch you all on the next stream. So I hope you have a blessed day wherever you are watching from. Y'all take care.
This is our show.